top, the sky's the limit. You came and not the bitch. KRC to THADOECCRT. Be silent, whatever they say. Did my best for friends. Competition made the pressure sway. Try my best to fix that strain. Good muscles don't be the same. No six chances when you switching lanes. I'm looking back and I'm tired of all this waiting. I'm on this bed and I feel like it just tasted. These niggas hit me and jelly, but when I say shit,
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Anything Goes TV 817. I'm your host, David.
And I'm Nino.
And that was All the Don. Shout out to All the Don and his manager, Clint. That was his latest hit, It's Poppin'. Make sure you go out and get it. And I'd like to say shout out to my main man, Bruce, to Mark, to Axe, and to Luther, and to all of our listeners on the East Coast and the West Coast, our people in Chicago, thank you for listening. In DFW area, for sure, thank you. And all our lovely lady listeners, thank you for listening. Tammy, Brandy, Kennedy, Kiara, Cornella, Amy, Peaches, Kayla, and all the other ones I didn't mention, thank you so much for listening. Today's topic, what we want to talk about is how to solve crime in your neighborhoods and in the inner city. We know we have a crime problem, and one of the ways we want to talk about the ways that we can solve it and get crime out of the neighborhoods. I know people have a lot of ideas on how to do that, and that is something that they're talking about during this political season, is how to combat crime in your neighborhoods. And that's what me and Nino talking about today. We had a lot of listeners calling in about that, and they say this is something that's very serious, and they want to know what we have to say about it. So, Nino, what do you have to say? How do we stop and how do we fight crime in the neighborhoods?
We need to start citizen patrol, neighborhood walks. Band together a few people that maybe do 2-3 different watches. We also need to be very observant. Be aware of who newcomers are moving into our neighborhoods. Be aware of what they're doing. Be aware of, do they have like a lot of people, like if they move in a certain place or a certain house, is there a lot of activity going on when you think they should be at work? I think that's one of the points you can start. What about you, David?
Yeah, a neighborhood watch seems like it would be good. Something that it would be definitely helpful. Having citizens on patrol, it seems like that's ideas that have been done before. I don't know what the success rate is, but one of the things that is a start. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I want to talk about that to get to I believe the root of the problem is the way black people look at crime and look at other people in the neighborhood. We were brought up saying if you are a tattletale, you are bad. Don't be a tattletale. And that is what's prevalent in the neighborhoods. We'll see crime, but nobody won't say anything about it. They saying snitching ain't good. And basically that's what being a tattletale is. They'll say that's being a snitch. And that's not a good thing to be a snitch. When in all likelihood, and the truth of the matter is, it is a good thing to be a snitch, a whistleblower, a good person, not an evildoer. You see, if you turn a blind eye to crime, to someone doing wrong, you are just as guilty as that person doing wrong. So one of the things that I suggest is we rethink how we look at things, especially what we were taught. Look the other way. That's none of your business. That's what goes on in our neighborhoods. We would let a person move in next door to us and start selling drugs or doing some other illegal activity and won't say anything about it. What you think, Nino?
Oh, yes, I agree with you because, as you said, with the whistleblowing, how you going to ever fix the problem if somebody doesn't come and produce evidence towards the problem? I don't think nothing's wrong with that. Another point you can do is if you see unsavory characters, or at this point blank say drug users move in the neighborhood, and get their license plates. Take down numbers, intimidate them, because let's be real, they're gonna try to intimidate you and your neighborhood by taking over and selling drugs in your neighborhood.
That's true. We would have to move in the numbers. There's strength in numbers. One person against a bunch of drug dealers, and because they're always running packs, and that's how they intimidate everybody. They want to be bigger, more in numbers, and more violent, and it'd be intimidating to law-abiding citizens. So in order for that to truly work, we would have to do it in unison, in numbers. The whole neighborhood must be united to fight the one thing that is bringing everybody apart. You see, a cause like that would bring people together. And that's what we have to do. We have to fight together against that, because they don't have any rules. They would do whatever it takes to intimidate their neighbors, and they operate out of fear. And one of the things that we could do to combat that is having a united front. And that's part of the neighborhood watch. Everybody in the neighborhood is connected to the person that's doing the watch, and it's a rotating shift, and everyone's involved. That's one of the things that I believe could help. But we'd have to go more. We got to dig deep and find out what could actually be done, because it's time to take serious action. That's part of it. But what happens when the evildoers do some evil to one of the people for intimidation, like breaking their house, jump on one of their family members to send a message? Then what happens?
Well, if you don't call the police, I believe sometimes you might have to take the matters in your hand and retaliate. Or I will say this too, and I was going to bring this point up too. A lot of times that we have problems in our neighborhood because we need to get the unemployment down. Let's get people like the youth and the juvenile. Let's work to get them jobs, because a lot of time crack selling and drug using is because people are stationary. They're not doing nothing. Let's get programs to keep them active and keep people working, and that will help the neighborhood. Because why would you need somebody in the neighborhood that's always just in the neighborhood and not doing nothing productive?
Right. And that makes sense. That makes sense. And one of the things too, we need more people vigilant, like Charleston White was in the beginnings of his being a community activist. We need more people that's bold and brave, that's willing to take on these people, that's not afraid to go toe to toe with them, that's not afraid to tell them, I'm going to call the police on you. You try it. You see, we are so afraid of being labeled a snitch that we will let someone destroy our neighborhood to keep such a foolish reputation. Oh, I keep it 100. That's nothing but silly talk. Keeping it 100 would be fighting against the drug dealers of your neighborhood, because remember, they don't care who they sell drugs to. They'll sell them to your mother and your father, your kids. And look what they're doing. They're getting all the money and destroying you in the process. And that is unacceptable. That is not what this country is built on, and that's definitely not what God would want.
A drug dealer will kill you. He'll kill you and still sell to the next person. I agree with you on the Charleston White there. You got to have some leaders in the neighborhood. You got to have that person that by any means necessary going to step to the forefront and say, listen, enough is enough. I'm going to make my stand on this.
Yeah, because we've been down the city hall, we've marched, and nothing happened. And the main thing is because the powers that be don't want nothing to happen. Now, let's just be straight. Let's cut to the chase.
Right.
If we want to stop the drug problem and crime in the neighborhoods, the government know what to do, and the police knows what to do. Yeah. Okay. They could stop this.
Yes.
There are all kind of ways to stop. The individuals to target to stop them. Because one thing about it, out of 10 of them, 9 of them are followers, 1 of them the leader. you track down who he is, you kill the whole organization.
Mm-hmm.
And they know this. So to me, one of the big problems is that it must be profitable to the powers that be.
Mm-hmm.
Because why is this only in certain neighborhoods? I see people of all ethnic groups coming into black neighborhoods buying drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see any drug houses in the nice neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
So why is that? Because I know one thing. I don't know of one black person that got a marijuana farm or that could float or fly anything over from South America to here.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, who are we fooling here? We could stop this if the right people say it is a priority. Sure, we could police our own neighborhoods, but we don't have the power to do any enforcement. We can't assault anyone. We cannot arrest anyone. So what power do we truly have?
Because it's bigger than right and wrong. What you saying is bigger than right and wrong. It was like say the power that be, they control this. Who flying this over? Who controlling this? I remember I done seen where drug dealers move in, have a 30-day period before the police even come with the task force. What are we talking about here? 30-day period. This is not like no job or no probation, like you got a job or nothing like this. If you know that it's crime and drugs there, come and make the bus. What is you giving them 30 days for? Because it's always the powers that be that control this.
Just like that 94 crime bill that was sponsored by our president that put a lot of the crack users in jail while the big crack dealers that had the big giant quantities went free or got slaps on the wrist. And we know how disproportionate that was. We know how many black people were locked up due to that. And I find that ironic that all of that was done to the majority of black people when the person who authored the bill
is not black.
Not black, but whose son is an admitted notorious crack user. You can't make this stuff up.
No, you can't.
I'm going to prosecute all of these people for smoking crack and having small quantities of this and put them in jail for a long time when I'm fighting to keep my son out of jail and covering up his crack use.
Yes, sir.
And he was a bigger crack user than any of the black people that I know. According to his book, he's admitted it. And your father, the law and order president, is putting all of these black people in jail for small quantities of crack. What you think about that, Nino? This just boggles the mind.
Oh man, it's elementary. It's facts. It's facts. That's what I'm saying. And we all know that the little black crack users that they say using, now the one that we talking about, he's using crack and dope at an astronomical amount of dollars and money. We ain't talking about no dime crack. We talking about blowing bowls. We talking about smoking dope. So, you know, it's always this a cover up of powers that can be. But we know what's going on.
Well, I can tell you one way. Let it show up in Beverly Hills and let it show up in these rich neighborhoods and see how quick that person get put in jail that's starting trying to sell in these neighborhoods. See how quickly the police move in to run a sting operation and to stop that.
Days, 48 hours.
Yeah. But you can operate with total immunity in a black neighborhood and nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
We've seen police ride right by these houses and people didn't even stop. They continued to go buy the product.
And see the house active. No people going in and out. Bird's eye view. No, and just ride on by. Don't even stop or nothing.
So how can you solve this problem without the help of the federal government? It's impossible. Sure, we can educate, but we have people that's hooked on this. And people that's hooked on a controlled substance needs serious help. It's not I'm just going to stop. It's called a controlled substance for a reason. And it seems like it's all in the inner city neighborhoods where we have what they call black on black crime. We don't have any other white on white crime, Asian on Asian crime,
or Latino on Latino crime.
No.
Right. Absolutely.
Only black on black. And the black people have no power to stop it because we control no Army, Navy, Marines, or no police force, have no political power to stop this. So, the answer to the question, until the government gets serious about solving the problem, because it's going to take government intervention, because they know who the players are, and they can stop the players from playing if they want to stop the game. So in order to be serious about it, the government have to look in the mirror and say, hey, look, let's cut this out.
Let's cut it out.
We know where it's coming from. We can shut all of that down from South America. We can shut it down. We know where everything's going into the black neighborhood. That's why they have second-rate schools. That's why the neighborhoods are run down. Let's stop letting the black people be prey, and let's treat them fair. Let's take that out of there, because that's one more stumbling block that's in there, and that was put in there by other people. So when we on Anything Goes, we're going to come to you and we're going to tell you the truth.
Straight up.
And this is the truth. Black people in the inner city, you have no power to stop this.
Nope.
Because if you did, we would have already stopped it.
Right.
So we plead, we're asking the people who have the power to stop the people. Stop the ones that's getting the product. Stop it from coming in. Then we can work on the getting people off of the stuff and getting them cured. Because right now, being hooked on it is a bigger problem. I'm David.
And I'm Nino.
Tune in again to another episode of Anything Goes TV 817.